Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly with me, your host, Trevor Stewart 1308. And we are here with the ASOC Prod, Cat, and the Peanut Gallery. And today we are going to be listening to Leisha Miller read more of the Constitution. We're going to try and get all the way through the video. Um, yeah, yeah. Cat and Peanut Gallery are trying to make it out of here early enough to catch a movie, so we're gonna try really hard to get through this. Uh, Want to say a quick hello to dear old friend DJ Christian. Thank you for being here. It's great to see you, and of course, Crystal, just me, Crystal. Much love always to you. So glad you guys are here. Now, for today's ad read, today's pre-rolls are, of course, brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, on the Downtown Mall, 105 West Main Street, above the Brick, Suite 200, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. The Green Cauldron, the perfect modern witch shop for the modern witch on the go when you can't afford to get when you don't have the time to prep your own spell components, uh, they are right there for you. The Hidden Leaf, a great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, eh, bud? Also, the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. And they do have the lowest prices in town, according to my highly biased research. By which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my very biased research. Now, a quick note of disclosure. Uh, we are an opinionated network. We are some very opinionated people. And the opinions you hear in this show are correct, but they are also the opinions of the network and ourselves. They do not represent any of the opinions of any of our sponsors, including Firehouse, Kush Gang, or the Hidden Leaf. Speaking of which, hopefully next week I will have more stuff from the Kush Gang to try out. I dropped by to say hi to them yesterday, but I had to refrain from purchasing a couple of bottles of drip just because it's been I think 2 weeks in a row I've been I got stuff there, so it's been a little my accountant told me to, well, hasn't told me yet, but I'm trying to keep my accountant from telling me I need to slow down. A smooth smoke every time. All right, now to get into this, first thing we wanted to talk about real quickly is there is an ongoing video game voice actor strike that has been going on since the general actors strike. The video game voice actors never got assurances that they wouldn't be replaced by AI, so they've stayed on strike. This was pointed out to us a couple of days ago by our UK correspondent. Who's that girl? It's Jess. Um, and I wanted to bring this up because A, we are strongly pro-union here, and pro workers' rights to strike, and B, this is a strike that affects the Twitch community at the very least. And touches the lives of a bunch of my friends. So, I feel the need to point it out now, and we will probably cover this more in depth uh, next week before we get into the Legal Eagle video that the ASOC prod has found for us. Also, to Christian, I'm sorry that you missed that this isn't a DJ stream, that this is a politics stream. But thank you again for being here. You you are someone I know who, besides having a lot of musical background, you've got background in a lot of stuff. Socio-political information. You're very, you've been very plugged in to what's going on in the world. So I am happy to have you here for this as well. But all right, now that we've gotten the early stuff out of the way, let's jump into this video. I don't remember exactly where we were. I think we had gotten through...
We're just starting on the amendments.
Okay, we'd gotten through the presidential powers, and we were just starting on the amendments. All right.
Wix. One platform, any website.
Oh, that's what
unlimited
that is.
Creation.
Hold on a second, folks.
Describe your needs and goals.
That should help.
And AI will transform your tailored brief.
Described our names: George Washington, president and deputy from Virginia. Okay, so that's the whole Constitution, and then afterwards we have 27 amendments that went on to change the Constitution. The first 10 amendments were the Bill of Rights, written in 1791 by James Madison in response to calls from many states to provide greater protections for individual liberties. Virginia was the final state to ratify the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, on December 15th, 1791. First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Note that.
All right. Now, this is one of those, really charged ones right now. And I feel like this amendment is being used. I know that this amendment is being used to to basically do the opposite of what it said it would do. That camera's not on right now. Remember to look into that camera, Trevor. The arguments that have been coming forth with this one around, for instance, the right to not make, let's go with the classic one, the same-sex marriage and the Christian bakery that wanted to not make the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Let me back up. I don't want to give real Christians a bad name by associating them with these bad actors.
Fundamentalist?
Ah, thank you. Okay, that works.
Emphasis on the mental.
Yes. And this... So... but the ultimate extension of that version of freedom of practicing religion, what that nth degree version fundamentalist thing is, taking it to the extreme, and allowing doctors to not practice medicine when they're not comfortable with the religious implications could lead to things like individuals getting completely ignored. Uh oh. I'll get to that in just a second, Simply Steve. Yikes. But individuals becoming completely ignored because they are of a religion that is not liked by the religion of the practicing doctor. Um, to the most extreme degree, I worry that out and practicing pagans won't be seen by fundamentalist doctors and will be denied life saving care because of that religious implication. And I care because I am an out and practicing pagan, and that would really suck for me. Um, Simply Steve, hi, thank you for joining us. Uh, your state might not have to worry about the U.S. Constitution for much longer. We might be making our own. We have a ballot petition to leave the Union going. Wow. And it's not the joke Denmark one. I don't live in Cali. They're not the only ones that want it out. Interesting. What state are you in? I mean, other than a state of terror. No, hopefully a state of safety, actually. Um, Interesting. That brings up something that we're gonna want to talk about some more at some point, which is the yeah. I'm kinda. Hey, Retro. Good to see you in here, Retro. Uh, yeah. I gotta ask. Let's just say I live in a state that America already hates because of the way we vote. Fair enough. I don't know how to play. Hi, welcome in. First time viewer. We are uh we are discussing the amendments to the Constitution today. We are watching a Leisha Miller video where she reads the Constitution, and we are discussing the amendments and as we go through. Well, we're still on the first one. And of course, hi Lockpick, great to see you. Great to see you, my future ex-husband. Uh, oh, thank you for the subscription, Christian. Thank you. Uh, Simply Steve says it's not a joke anymore. With what Elon Musk is doing, it's the only logical step at this point if we want to protect the people of this state. Uh, yeah. I mean, somehow I'm not surprised that it I'm trying not to be alarmist, but it is hard for me not to want to exit the situation. Uh,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, I Virginia's not gonna secede. we're too purple to secede for in either direction. Uh, oh, cool. I don't know how to play said there's a webcomic called XKCD that did a really great comic that explains freedom of speech very well. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't think Virginia would secede either direction. Um, mm, are we set to block links on the you know what? I don't know how to play. If you join the Discord, you can put a link to it there. In random things. Kat, would you put the Discord up?
Yeah, I'll do that. Give me 1 second.
Thank you. Also, if you join the Discord, you can join the discussion in the live VC, and make your voices heard.
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. Discord's being special.
Okay. Simply Steve says, we cannot continue to live in fear every day of what madmen in DC might do. We can't keep asking people of our state to do that. If the majority of our state vote in support, then we have every right to say peace out to the union. Yes, you do. And you know, I really like that way of looking at it. Like I wouldn't I'm not giving up my patch of ground to anybody other than if somebody showed up and said, here, this is why you really should give this up to us. This is why we deserve it. In the form of reparations. And when the baby turns 18, he's getting the whole thing. There's the only two ways I'm coming up off my land. But I also really feel, because I live in such a conservative pocket of Virginia, I definitely feel that push, subtle push to be away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's this you just sent me? Oh. As of 2024, over 6 states are said to have grown secessionist movements, those being Alaska, California, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and New Hampshire, due to increasing polarization of the country. It was reported that these areas are growing for calls for independence.
I mean, if you got, for the longest time, it was known that Texas and California were the two that most likely to want to split off. But if all of a sudden you've got 4 more joining them, that's a pretty big clue something's not going right.
Yeah. That does worry me a little. On the other hand, while we are living in unprecedented times and the president is setting new precedents of bad behavior, I do feel like we have a precedent of being able to overcome these divisive forces. We have one of our classic quotes is literally a house divided cannot stand. I mean, that's one of our big quotes. Random things failed to load for me. Huh. Uh-oh. Not sure what that means. Uh-oh. Oh. That means you need to go through the rules. Yeah. Simply Steve says, what's more, these ballot measures are gaining the support of other countries. That's interesting. If other countries legitimize a secessionist movement, that's the real start to legitimizing a secession.
Mm-hmm.
It does matter, of course, if it does matter if the home country recognizes your secession, but if the rest of the world doesn't, it means that you still have nothing to, like, you're not a state, you're not a country, you're not your own sovereign entity if the rest of the world doesn't recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few countries that live in that gray area. Israel being one of them. We're not going to touch on the Palestinian genocide today. I'm just going to leave that where it is for today. We'll get back to it. But yeah, there's some sick things going on there too. All right, we are in ad. When we get back from ad, we will watch the video some more. China has already covertly said they would support Cali both with military and economic aid if they leave. That has very worrying connotations.
I wouldn't be surprised them stating that they would gladly support any secessionist movement.
Yeah. I guess it's more worrying if California takes them up on it. I think that would be the real big fear there. Economic aid to California? Cali has the world's 4th largest economy. Yeah, it does. Lockpick says, so basically China said, this is our shoe in to initiate a full-blown invasion. Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's what I hear from it too, Lockpick. That is exactly what I hear. And it's a little worrying.
Yeah, I don't really see it that way. I see it more as a way of weakening what may be considered their primary competitor on the world stage.
I mean, there's that too. Plus, I'm beginning to think that China might not want to invade because we are really running the risk of incurring a Canadian invasion. Lockpick, when are you guys going to put your skates on, skate down here, pull our jerseys over our heads, and beat universal health care into our brains?
I fully support the Maple Marauders.
Yes.
Yes. The Maple Marauders. Wait till snowmobile season is over. We're busy at the moment. I like it. I like it.
Okay, how many buildings have you accidentally run over?
Accidentally?
Yeah, when you get that much snow and you're running around the snowmobile, it happens.
Again, accidentally, this is lockpick we're talking about here.
That's a case of, oh, that looks like a nice little hill. I might be able to get some air off of it. Oh, wait, that's the top of a 2-story building.
That's a roof. Wah!
A little more air than intended.
All right. Let us really quickly take a look at the comic. I think. And then we'll get back into watching the video. Public service announcement. The right to free speech means the government can't arrest you for what you say. It doesn't mean anyone else has to listen to your bullcrap or host you while you share it. The First Amendment doesn't shield you from criticism or consequences. If you're yelled at, boycotted, have your sign canceled, have your show canceled, or get banned from internet community, your free speech rights aren't being violated. It's just the people listening think you're an a-hole, and they're showing you the door. Pretty classic. Agreed. All right.
If you're an apple hat, people are going to treat you like an apple hat, and you can walk off.
Yeah. I don't know how to play. Says, yeah, Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state. First of all, wouldn't it be the 51st through the 61st? Also, I fully support this. Let Trump deal with 40 million Canadians who expect universal health care.
Well, let's not forget Guam, DC, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
we
64.
can scratch Puerto Rico from that list because they have shot down that several times.
Yeah, they're like, nah, we're good. It's like when somebody says, so, how are you enjoying our first date? And you go, oh, I'm sorry. No, I like our relationship the way it is. Sorry. Lockpick says, 64th, we have 3 territories as well as 10 provinces.
But that's also assuming that the commander-in-chief actually can understand geography.
That's kind of what Kat just said in the chat. Those numbers are expecting Trump to do accurate math. All right, let's get back into the video.
This amendment and each of its protections has been discussed and defined extensively in the U.S. Supreme Court, and it needs an entire law school class to unpack. Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Note that the main debate over the Second Amendment is whether it protects an individual's right to bear arms or if that right is tied only to those in the militia. Until 2008, the general consensus was that this right was tied to militias only. See District of Columbia v. Heller from 2008 for more. Third Amendment, no soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Note that this amendment is outdated.
I'm taking this joke from another comedian that I have seen on YouTube and really like, and she says, you know, that's the amendment to repeal. Come on, soldiers, I've got an open home. Where are my soldiers? And that's kind of how I feel about that amendment, too. Go ahead and repeal it. I've got room, soldier boy. And moving on.
But was very top of mind right after the Revolutionary War when it was written. Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Note that this protects against the cops coming in and searching and sieging your shit without probable cause and a warrant. This has become...
This is one of the ones, the Fourth Amendment is one of the ones that has been top of my mind most of my life. Because most of my life has been spent avoiding the cops. Because of this. Because it was... Because of where I was born and the community I was born into, you know, I was raised to think that cops were not the good guys. I was raised to be afraid of them. And, you know, one of the earliest songs I was exposed to has the line, I guess if you've got a warrant, I guess you're gonna come in. Very much like, so that amendment, that illegal search and seizure amendment is that's been really close on my mind. AC/DC the band, AC/DC the electrical terminology, or AC/DC? Because I'm one of the three. So just to put into perspective, amendment, where Amendment 4. Oh, yeah, no, the Grateful Dead, yeah. What is it? Truckin'? What a long, strange trip it's been. Yeah, the hippie farm on which I grew up was very much, I mean, very non-police. I was raised to call them blue meanies. American Beauty, great album. Yep. And please forgive me for this, DJ Christian. I finally started liking the Grateful Dead. It took a long time, but I do actually like them now. Obviously, goth subculture here, so liking the Grateful Dead is a little, admitting to liking the it's a little like admitting to wearing pink, unless you wear a lot of black with your pink. Christian says, I'll forgive you this time, thank you. All right, now let us move on.
more complicated with the internet. What do you have a right to privacy to online, for example? See, e.g., Carpenter v. United States. 2017. Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So the Fifth Amendment lays out criminal procedure in the U.S., including the clause.
Come back to this in a second. Christian says, I wear pink. Yeah, I do too. I feel like we've got deep enough goth cred that we can get away with it. I don't know how to play said, I drove from New Jersey to Wisconsin just to go to a parking lot of a Dead show. I believe it. All while under the influence of various substances. I believe that too. I do enjoy the parking lot. The parking lot scene is why a lot of people go to Dead shows, says Christian. Yep. And you know how to find the... Never mind. I'm not giving people advice on how to find specific things in the parking lot scene. This is not what I am doing.
Against double jeopardy and the protection from being a witness against yourself, aka I plead the fifth. It also includes protections for federal due process. State due process is protected in the 14th Amendment, which we'll get to. And the final clause is known as the Takings Clause, and it allows the federal government to take your land if they compensate you. Sixth Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. This is the Law and Order Amendment. It lays out the rights of the accused. Your rights under the Sixth Amendment are explained to you when you are read your Miranda warnings, or Mirandized. This comes from a case, Miranda v. Arizona, from 1966. That's why it's called.
I'm not sure if this is... I'm not sure if this is true, but I remember... Actually, I'm pretty sure this is true, because... Not either of the last two times I was arrested, but the time before that, I was not Mirandized. I was not read my Miranda rights. And I brought that up, and my lawyer said, no, Miranda rights are now considered common knowledge because they've said it on TV so much, the cops don't have to say it to you anymore. And I'm not sure if that's fully true, but
Not sure if the reasoning is correct, but that is true. It is not necessarily a legal requirement.
yeah. I don't know how to place it. I said to my friend who suggested the road trip, but you hate hippies. He answered, yeah, but hippies have good party favors. Yeah, we do. I mean, they. Yeah, they do. Peanut Gallery said, one of the few cases where I can honestly claim innocence, but mainly ignorance. Yeah. I know you. I've met you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you were drawn square.
Not sure how to take being called a square.
You don't drink. You don't do drugs. You don't go out in public. I mean, you do play D&D, so that's pretty cool. Oh, wait, I'm looking into the camera that's not on.
Swords. There's the sword collection.
The sword collection. Being someone who collects swords, I'm not sure that that helps make us any less nerdy.
Oh no, definitely not.
Right.
Nerdy doesn't necessarily mean square, and vice versa.
No, but that's how I mean it. Nerdy, not likely to go getting in trouble. That kind of thing.
So more like one of those really, really sharp-edged D6s instead of the more rounded ones.
Yeah. Yes. Here, to illustrate the difference between these two D6s. I don't know how to place it. They don't have to read them to you like they do on TV. No. When I got arrested many years ago, they showed me a paper that had them on it at the station. Oh. Okay.
That's an interesting reference.
I'm so hip, I have trouble seeing over my own pelvis. Bonus points if anyone gets that extremely nerdy reference. Unfortunately, I don't get the bonus points on that one. All right. We are going to get back to the video while we wait for anyone to weigh in on the incredibly nerdy reference. Because I really am really curious now. And we are going to skip the next set of commercials.
Your Miranda rights.
It is familiar, but that's all I
Seventh
can
Amendment.
say.
In suits at common law where the
What was that?
It is familiar, but that is all I can say. I have no point of reference for it at the moment.
Zaphod Beeblebrox from Hitchhiker's Guide to the... Oh!
Oh, yes, that explains it.
So, yes, familiar. Just was not catching it. Oh well.
Man. I feel slow.
You suffer from SLOW?
SLW?
SLOW.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So these are your rights in federal civil cases, meaning non-criminal cases brought under federal law. Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Cruel and unusual is open to interpretation here and has been interpreted numerous times by the Supreme Court. Clearly, like, medieval torture is off the table, but what about the electric chair? Waterboarding? The death penalty generally? There's a lot of debate. Ninth Amendment. The enumeration...
I want to deal with that last one real quick. Excessive bail... It's been, it's been being said that, it's possible. It's being proposed that any bail is excessive. Any cash bail sort of thing is prohibitive for people who can't afford it. Also, the cruel and unusual punishment part of that, I want to point out that solitary confinement is being the idea of solitary confinement is being revisited as possibly cruel and unusual punishment. And I think that it should be, because it is really it's really detrimental to people. It's really damaging to people's psyche. I'm an abolitionist when it comes to prison anyway. I'm not really on the reform side of things. I don't see prison reform as working. But also, I think that a lot of things that are currently allowed in prison is cruel and unusual. I don't know how to play gives us a great quote from Douglas Adams. The major problem of one of the major problems, for there are several, one of the many major problems with governing people is that right? Things getting in the way. Is that of whom you get to do it, or rather, of whom manages to get people to let them do it to them. To summarize, it is a well-known fact that those people who must want to rule people are ipso facto those least suited to do it. To summarize the summary, anyone who is capable of getting themselves made president should, on no account, be allowed to do the job. Again, great words about Zaphod Beeblebrox. DJ Christian says, Douglas Adams spitting all the truths. I don't know how to play solitary confinement if you're gonna get shanked by someone or about to shank someone else. It's not exactly cruel and unusual if it's for one's safety. Yes, but using it as a punishment for as the first punishment for any infraction is extreme. Also, the conditions of solitary confinement are really unpleasant. It's rather, at least the lights get turned down on the block. What's getting sent to the timeout corner but solitary confinement for children? I mean, kinda, yeah. Kinda.
But the problem is with kids, timeout doesn't work. Because all they're taught as little kids is, you don't like me, you don't want me. They're not actually taught anything about why they're there.
Okay.
Which is why best practice now is not to use a timeout corner, not to use a timeout chair. It's to spend time with a teacher, with someone else, where they're removed from the situation, but they're not being ignored. They're not being. It's not being shown to them in a very, very visible way that they don't matter, that they did something wrong, and so now they're just bad.
Right.
As an adult, I find that punishment truly humorous and absolutely terrible. Oh no, I did something wrong. Now you're forcing me to interact with people.
Kinda, sorta.
I don't know how to play says moral of the story, kick your kid's ass. It helps. I also wanted to bring up that Kat has credentials in this area. She is a preschool teacher. So she would
Got the
know
shiny
what,
CPA and everything.
right. She would know what best practices are. Um, so uh, we've got a minute and 26 before we're back from break.
I hate the term best practices.
I know, so do I.
Why?
It's corporate speak for as we want you to do.
Okay. Is that
Mm.
do you think that's true in every situation?
In most situations, or every situation that I have personally encountered it, best practices are someone has done the math to determine what is optimal. Meanwhile, this person who has done the math has rarely actually been in the field to experience the situation that they're setting the best practices for.
I get that. I get that.
In the early childhood field, best practices are based upon the absolute most perfect set of circumstances you could ever possibly hope to have. I mean, they're talking about a situation where you've got a classroom that is so well funded and staffed that you have the ability to interact in such a way that you can take one whole person out of the room and not affect anybody else. So for us, best practices has always meant this is what we strive for. And in some cases, people understand that we're striving for it. There's no way right now we can meet this because this is your golden dream and we're still stuck on planet Earth.
Okay.
And in some cases, you've got people that are trying to enforce that golden dream willy-nilly without notice. You're supposed to have X number of desks crammed in this room because this is what we think your space is going to have, and it's like y'all forgot that we had to have storage for other things. So if we put that many things in here and that many bodies in here, there is no room to move. So why are you making us into sardines? Just because your ratio, your golden ratio says we can do this, 1 to 15, your golden ratio also says we have to have X number of these things in this room as well, which means we have no space for our children.
Okay.
So it's a case of they're there most of the time. They're actually decent. It's just it is at the very highest level of everything, and it a lot of times they fail to take into account that none of us have a magic wand.
Okay. Um so it yeah, best best practices are aspirational, and whereas what the rest of the world thinks when they hear best practices is like code for electricians. This is the baseline of what it should be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something real
But
quick
when
because
everything
I'm getting an
gets
echo.
Okay.
I don't know if they're hearing it out there in Twitch land. Say something.
Something.
I'm still getting an
something,
echo on both of you too. That's weird.
While you're figuring that out, I am muting and stepping away for a couple minutes. Y'all keep talking and doing whatever.
I don't know how to play says we sound. They say. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. All right. I know why I'm getting an echo and y'all aren't, and I can live with it for a moment. I do want to read what I don't know how to play was saying. Um, I don't know how to play. Then why do we now have two-third generations of children, 2 out of 3 generations of children that are absolutely wusses? Wah. I need a safe space. To respond to that, I mean, I'm kind of all about safe spaces. Like, I've got a lot of PTSD that came from not having any safe spaces. So now when I find a safe space, I'm really all about it. Um, and now we have a bunch of I'll go back to wusses. I don't know how to play saying, and now we have a bunch of wusses. I'm sorry, I'm a Gen Xer. I grew up with rub some dirt on it and walk it off. And I get that. I'm a lot quieter than Discord is on stream. Oh, I turned my mic down. That's why. I should be a bit louder now. Christian says being tough comes with getting actual exposure to the worlds, but kids don't have anywhere to go because we've taken away all the places where they could actually roam, and letting your kids roam can get you hit with child endangerment charges these days. Yes, agreed. You know, part of what I part of what toughened me up was falling off of the jungle gym and landing on hard dirt. Christian said, I grew up with rub some dirt on it and it sucked. There's a place between the two extremes. I agree. And I think it's important that we find that. I got my butt beat multiple times a week growing up. I came home bloody from school more often than not. I understand severe trauma, but I became stronger because of it. Christian says, I'm sorry, that's abuse. And I agree. But also, it. Again, I think there's got to be a happy medium. Character building. You know, I agree with Christian that there's got to be a happy medium. You know, something between having to do this sort of Spartan style survivalist childhood and not being exposed to the world at all. I don't think anybody should have to face abuse. No one should, whether it's from whatever corner. You know, a lot of what I feared came from being in a place where I was absolutely the most stand out outsider in the space, and was targeted, and I still stand out quite a lot, which is why I find myself going to places like the Hidden Leaf, where they are really trying to build a safe third space for everyone who needs it. Even those who don't partake are welcome there. Christian
We
said,
used to have lots of public safe third spaces. They
yes,
were referred to as parks, playgrounds, the mall, shopping areas. But now, if you go out there without any specific purpose, you're quite often looked at as some sort of malcontent looking to do harm.
right. And I think part of that was, oops, that was not what I meant to do. Dang it.
Right.
I remember when that was, you know, that explains why. When I switched audio, I didn't switch it to the right spot. That explains why, or no, that I saw that starting in the 90s when we would get rousted from malls, when we would start getting rousted from these third spaces, you know. I And you notice, well, getting chased out of Fashion Square Mall enough times, and we stopped hanging out there, and now Fascist Scare is closing.
Gone. Oh, no, gone. It is done.
Yeah, it is good and done. You know, the downtown mall was, for a time, was chasing us off of it. And I don't know what changed and when they stopped, but I've noticed that they've sort of gotten more okay with people using the mall as a place to hang out. The downtown mall. And by that I mean not just rich people, not just white people, not just middle class and above people. I see them no longer chasing out the unhoused. I see them no longer chasing out the punks and the kids. I see kids skateboarding down the mall.
Mm-hmm.
I see people riding bikes on the mall, and it takes everything I've got not to scream, "Hey, no bikes on the mall!" Because that was the rule when I was their age.
Mm-hmm.
When I was that age, that was the rule. And because our group kind of stood out so much, anything going on the mall that wasn't kosher, we would get looked at. And so we became sort of this, we had to sort of police the mall a bit, because if we didn't, we could get blamed for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why you gotta blame the goths and the punks? Why you gotta blame us? Just because we look so different.
Yeah. Honestly, for the downtown mall, it seems to me a combination of two things. One, they got better cameras in down there, and two, some of the more nasty shop owners that were always constantly complaining have gone out of business because no one wanted to come to their store.
Karma.
So they're not there.
Yeah.
And if they're not there filing constant complaints and running people off, there's more people coming back to the mall and doing things, and you see more groups of people out on a Sunday afternoon or whatever, just wandering along and enjoying the fact that they've got a nice place to walk.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, yeah.
It's much more readily accessed in the corner.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And there are less
Um,
UVA students.
I mean, they're still there. They're definitely still there, but
Let me catch up on chat here for a second. Uh, Christian said, I'm strong from my abuse, but I don't want to inflict that on others. And that's not a way to strengthen people without messing them up. Strength without CPTSD, please. I agree. I don't know how to play said the world is cruel. You can't baby people forever because there are no real safe spaces out in the world, and life is going to hit them in the face real hard when they realize that. Also true, but I think that if we raise a generation, if we raise a couple of generations with the awareness that I see uh, in young millennials and Zoomers, they will start making safe spaces for people. No longer, I like the world doesn't have to be hard anymore. We've gotten to a point where it doesn't have to be hard. The only thing that's making the world hard is our decision to keep making it hard for each other. And I think that Zoomers and young millennials see that. I think even older millennials sort of see that. They just didn't know how to handle it. Um, Christian said these are safer spaces. There are safer spaces if we curate them, but it takes effort. I don't know how to play said, don't get me wrong. Finding a community where you're safe is important, but whining about every little insult on the internet just makes it worse. I thought that's what the internet was for. I'm kidding.
for
The
cats.
underground is where people have always been safe from normies, but normal is still for lack of a better term, the norm. Christian said, it's wild that there's been that shift on the downtown mall. We got so much crap just for being there, even if we spent money. I know. I know. Okay. So, Christian, do you remember Bike Cop Nancy? Her granddaughter, I think, works at the Leaf. I literally buy weed from Bike Cop Nancy's granddaughter, or grand or something, grandniece or something. She asked me if I remembered Nancy, and I'm like, yeah, I remember Nancy. She was awesome. She was one of the few bike cops who took up for us. One of the few cops that took up for us, that stood up for the goths, the punks, the stoners, the unhoused. You know, she was pretty cool. I don't know how to play said now we see society falling apart. Uh Kat said, do you want a teacher perspective on the happy medium between abuse and whining? Yes, we do in just a second. Uh I don't know how to play said going back to safe spaces, it's fine for them to make their own, but there can be an expectation of safe spaces. That expectation comes from an extremely privileged place. Go to Saudi Arabia and see how long queer person survives. True. Uh Speaking of airplanes, how about those amendments? Here funny.
I know, but looks aren't everything.
I love you, dear.
The absolute adorableness of you two just derailed me completely. I think you gave me a new cavity.
See, that's not taking into account the fact that he did something very strenuous, and I've been checking every day this past week to see if his shoulders are sore enough to poke yet.
Aww.
No. Not sore enough to do something about. Sore enough to do something to aggravate it.
Yes, I know. I caught that. And
Okay.
aww.
He has met me in real life, you know.
I know. It's
I've
just
gotten
the
hit
all
by
the-
you in real life
Yes, you have.
for making peanut gallery style jokes.
Yes.
This is actually why I like this online gaming thing that we're doing,
I can't reach you in person.
right? Until you
That way you
learn
have your own safe space.
until you learn Sith powers and can force choke me through the screen, I'm safe.
No, I'm just going to do the devious thing and contact people living nearby you. It's like, hey, he's in the other room. He just said something. Can
Go
you go
throw
back
something
into
at
the
him.
room for me? All I have to do is wait for little Z to get big enough. I will have an ally.
All of a sudden, I'm terrified.
You're just now terrified? You're a slow learner.
If you look on my bio in Twitch, it says, I'm just an idiot. I mean, it says I'm just an idiot with a cell phone and computer and too much time on my hands. But it does start with, I'm just an idiot. I ain't a quick learner. I ain't the brightest candle in the candelabra.
Hmm.
I almost got to that in time. When we get back from commercial, we're going to go back to the video really quickly. I'm going to catch up on chat here. Christiane said she did, and there was a foot patrol guy whose name I can't recall, who was always so kind to me that and would walk me to my job in the early mornings. A few of them got us to at least. Yeah. Um, yeah. There were a few, but there were also some bad players. But
Mm.
I don't want to remember those people.
Mm-mm.
I don't know how to play said, I was in Israel in 2005. I was a little raver kid at the time. I went to the Cardo, which is this literally underground shopping area in Jerusalem. It was literally carved out of rock. My tour guide said we could go one block into the Arab market. Now, I grew up in rough areas. I'm not afraid of going anywhere. I got half of a block and I looked around and said, I should not be here. I turned my happy butt around and went right back to the Israeli side of the market. I get that. I get that. Um, I I, however, have never. Whenever that thought dawns on me, it's already like way too late. I'm already way more than a half a block in. Uh, Whenever it occurs to me that probably am outside of my comfortable territory. Uh, on the other hand, I find that those spaces, because I've learned very early in my life, I learned to travel respectfully in other people's areas, in other people's spaces. Uh, I, you know, I'm able to, have been able to go into other spaces and be safe, be not necessarily fully accepted, but better than tolerated, and certainly not despised. I don't know how to play said. My point is that you can't have an expectation of being safe, and making that expectation is extremely privileged and is divorced from reality and the rest of the world. Very true. Very true. I do agree with that. However, I also feel that uh I yeah, I do feel like you can't expect to be safe in a space that has not been that you have not curated to be a safe space. However, not being safe and being in danger are different. Um I don't know how to place it. I was just a kid walking around in my big raver pants, and I just looked out of place, and I saw the ways I was looked at, and that I was not in a safe area. You know, uh, I mean, yeah, I've again as a goth, there were times when I would be like not really paying attention to where we were headed or whatever, and I'd find myself in a neighborhood that was not gothic, but by being amiable. Uh, okay. Enjoy your lurk, Christiane. Thank you. Um, I would I would find I I would make safety for myself. That's not always an option, and not everybody is going to be as personable as I am. Um, but also, I think that is why safe spaces need to exist for everyone, almost everyone. I don't think there should be a safe space to practice hateful philosophies, to practice uh, to practice things like not see-ism, or white supremacy. I, I think making those spaces safe would be very dangerous to everybody else. But uh, I think that having safe spaces for people is important. I don't know how to place it. I went to college and grad school in Newark, New Jersey, lived on MLK Boulevard. At one point, I wandered into Baxter Projects, which are the projects in Newark. It's one of those places where they'll shoot you because you're white. The cops don't even go there. If you make a safe space, that's fine, but again, you can't have the expectation that anywhere else is safe. True. Again, true. Uh, I have found myself in places like Mutton Holler and Bacon Holler out in Greene County, y'all. And I definitely I, I definitely felt like I had to get out of there before sun went down because I wasn't driving an American made vehicle and I sure got long hair for a boy.
Mm.
Y'all don't look like you belong here in the hollers, boy. And I mean, I
You know,
hear that
I
like once, and you're like, oh, okay. I can leave. I mean, I was born in Louisa County, y'all, and it still ain't quite like the hollers. Yikes. I don't know how to play says my mentor, who was a gay leatherman, lives in Gun Barrel City, Texas. Nowhere he lives is a safe space. No. No. Uh, prayers go out to your mentor. Prayers of safety go out to your mentor. Prayers of protection go out to your mentor, because that. Wow.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And to bring it back to the younger generations, I think that the younger generations don't have the expectation of safety in places that aren't supposed to be safe. But the places that they're asking for safety are places that were supposed to be safe for us, but weren't. They want safe spaces in schools. They want safe spaces not necessarily everywhere in a city, but somewhere in a city. Uh I don't know how to play. Says he chooses to live there, no idea why, but that's where he calls home. Christian's replying to I don't know how to place it. I don't think that's in question though. Uh I don't know how to play. Said the internet isn't supposed to be a safe space. Uh I'll come back to that in a second. Christian said, dang, y'all, this has been a great discussion, but I have to dip. Thanks for hosting. Thank you for being here, Christian. It was great to have you on. Always, always enjoy talking to you. Have a great evening. We will see you again soon. Chaotic Techno Wizard said, we still haven't made it to number 9. Yeah, we haven't. This is going to be more than just one show, because you guys have to get out of here by 1:30.
Can we at least make it through the quote unquote Bill of Rights before?
Yes. I just want to come back to the internet isn't supposed to be a safe space. I think I don't agree with that as a blanket statement. Much of the internet isn't a safe space, and there's no way to make it a safe space. But I think safe spaces on the internet can and should be made. I think that there should be a safe corner on the internet for children, most definitely. Definitely for kids. You know, but also I do feel like there ought to be safe spaces, safe corners on the internet for pretty much everyone, just to be able to connect with their community. And then outside of those communities, the internet's going to internet, and we all know what that's like. You know? You know.
This Rule 34.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know how to play said, I see college kids complaining about just having conservative speakers on their campuses and that their safe places being invaded. I'm sorry, but I wholeheartedly disagree. College is a place where you're supposed to be challenged in your worldview and you're supposed to be offended. we're getting a little into something there. It's not the conservative speakers I think that they're uh, worried about. It's not conservative ideas or being challenged that they're worried about. It's specifically the people who are coming to speak who spread messages that are hateful, which is I don't think should fall under freedom of speech. I don't think we should platform hateful ideologies anywhere. No one needs to be challenged by that. That is a case of us making the world unsafe for each other. I don't go around preaching hateful ideologies against those who have preached hateful ideologies against me, uh, because I'm trying to overcome that. Uh, I say that, but I have also said some pretty heinous things about some pretty right wing people. So I need to check myself on that. But that's how you learn. New ideas are not just preached to the choir true, although, again, safe spaces for children. Parents should be doing their job and policing what their children view on the internet. When's the last time you were on a college campus? Uh, I absolutely disagree there. If you don't let idiots say horrible things, then how do you identify who the apple hats are? That that is true. Uh, but also I think that by letting them speak, we are allowing uh, the ideas to continue to spread like a germ. Um, I I mean the last time uh that's fair. That's fair. Um Also, I'm not out here making any of these decisions. I'm just a guy on a microphone on my corner of the internet. So, what do I know? I'm just an idiot. Uh,
I would say for most of those things, there is a time and a place for them. And it's a case of if one side, whichever side it is screaming loudly and getting their way the whole time, then they are in the wrong for the most part. Because it becomes a case where no one is actually interacting, it's just a screaming match.
yes.
College or wherever. If 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 there's no discourse, if there's no chance of, okay, I have heard you, please continue, so we can continue this and make an actual conversation, and it's just a screaming match, then no one is learning anything. They're just seeing who has the loudest lungs.
I agree. I agree with you there. I also feel like we need to address that some of these people are bad faith actors, that they're coming in to to sow discord, to speak against the mere existence of certain types of people. um it is a that's where I have a hard time with letting anybody speak, because if you platform just anybody, if you platform these people who are doing this, they do this thing where they turn it into a debate, a trans debate or a race debate, and they debate the existence of transness or of racism or of and by doing that they invalidate all of the problems that the other side is facing, and that is used to take the conversation away from solving any of the problems the that the marginalized group is having. It that's where this becomes difficult. That's where this can become dangerous. Lockpick said, I don't know how to play. Why should college be that? If college was available for everyone, then maybe that would be valid. But the only worldview that challenges the world is one of privilege that can afford higher education. There aren't enough of the full voice to say that they are challenging anything other than a different bias they hold. That is also very well put, Lockpick. I do agree with that. Chaotic Techno Wizard said, well, this stream has turned into an American Airlines flight in the 80s. It done got hijacked. To which Darth Dragonis, the practical of my oh, there is nowhere nice I'm gonna go. Never mind. The Brock of my life. Does this mean I can smoke cigarettes on the flight? Chaotic Techno Wizard, yep, smoke them if you got it. Cat said, surely you must be mistaken. I don't know how to play said, agree to whomever said that. But, like, let's take Steve Crowder, for example. He quietly sets up his booth on college campuses, has a sign that says, I believe X, change my mind, and he invites discussion. He's not on a bullhorn about it. Now, I have no love for the man, and my response to that is he goes in bad faith. You're not going to change his mind about anything. Granted, he has better media training than some college kids, but if you can't defend your point of view, how good of a point of view can you really be making? And Darth Dragonis says, except he only listens to himself. Exactly. He goes in bad faith. There's no way you're going to change his mind, and he's not going to listen to well-reasoned arguments. He's just going to fall back on his ad nauseums, his straw men, his whataboutisms, all of these debate bro sort of tactics that don't necessarily hold any truth. Lockpick says Steven Crowder only shows you the highlights of the day. He's not as fair and respectful as his media presence would have you believe. True. Dragonis says people like Crowder don't even look at proof. True. I don't know how to place that. I'd love to go toe to toe with him. It would be interesting. That would be interesting. I personally wouldn't like to. I wouldn't like to because I have a feeling that I don't have the emotional control to not punch him. And he would take that as a win. Whereas I would take that as, you offended me, so I punched you. Uh, I don't know how to play. Said half my day is watching debate bros on both sides. Yeah. Um, I don't have time for that sort of arguing. If people come at me in good faith, if people come to discuss something and have their mind open to being changed, I can sit with them in good faith and be open to their suggestions, to their point of view. And I can have a discussion. But when it turns into convince me and facts don't care about your feelings, I just don't have time for it. I stop being goth and start being punk. Chaotic Techno Wizard said, so every debate with Trev has a nosebleed section.
A potential nosebleed section. Which,
I mean, I'm good with that. Yeah, debate me, bro. I wear rings. I left a heck of an impression on the guy.
mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Slightly off topic. Somebody kind of threatened me the other day.
I don't think I did it.
No, it wasn't you.
Okay.
And somebody I've known for a long time, somebody that is my age, and I was just like, one of the two of us has kept up cardio and lifting and various combat training. Do you really want to be threatening me? Do you really, like, yes, I know you're bigger than me, but is this really how you want to come at me?
Yes.
Slightly off topic. We left slightly off topic a while ago.
Slightly off topic.
Mm-hmm. We've been off topic since like 10 minutes after we started the stream.
Oh yeah. I don't know how to play. Says I've been to Misfits shows. I miss Glenn Danzig. Tiny Dancing. And I didn't even cause it this time, Lockpick says. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. All right, we are going to power through as much of the video as we can in the next 20 minutes, people. All right? Strap in.
Right.
Here we go.
In the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. There is no consensus on the meaning of the Ninth Amendment, and it is rarely ever relied upon in court. I highly recommend checking out the Constitutional Law Center's website about this if you want a long-winded explanation as to why. The 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Note that this emphasizes that even with this Bill of Rights, the structure of the federal government is limited. Anything not listed here is left to the states or to the people. 11th Amendment, ratified in 1795. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. Note that this means that individuals cannot sue entire states. 12th Amendment, ratified 1804. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president. And they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president and of all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directly directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for President shall be the President, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. If no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as President, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the President. But in choosing the President, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and the majority of the...
I can't let this go.
No.
Hi, Master Asta. Hi, Chris into 386. So, Chris, which amendment is it that says that any man from Florida that shall open his mouth shall make an ass of himself? Into 386?
That's not an amendment. That's a commandment.
I mean, it might have been signed into being when Florida joined the states.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, my mother's not around to ask. She would know the answer to that question.
Okay. Serious face.
A little known 11th commandment.
11th commandment.
Okay.
Okay.
I find that acceptable.
Oh, man. I don't know how to play is in the Florida area. And man, I apologize. We are not nice to Florida here. We used to have a segment called Why Florida Why, where we would look at headlines from Florida and go, why Florida? Why you got to Florida so hard?
But hey, we got the Florida Man games out of it, so that's definitely a bonus, and it should be coming up again, I hope.
Ooh, yes. Chris, I love your state too. It gives me constant comedy fodder.
Did you know there's a Florida Man TV show now?
There's a...
Surprised.
The content creator that runs around and does the flip phone activate, he's got his own TV show doing Florida stuff. It is awesome.
How have I not seen this? And yet, I'm so glad that I haven't seen this. Why, Florida? Why do you Florida so hard? Why do you Florida so hard that both Georgia and Alabama feel the need to try to Florida as hard as you?
Oh, and the Carolinas, they're trying to join in.
Look, there's no need to ask Wyoming.
No, we're gonna let Wyoming join Canada. We are perfectly fine with that, and Maine.
Can we let Virginia join Canada?
I don't think so.
If we all just kind of work together, can we just pick the state up and carry it north?
We can try. I'm fine with trying.
You can.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
I
try.
don't know how to play. Says I can explain why there's a Florida man. And Darth Dragonis says, as can I.
Oh God, no.
I think most of us know the reason.
I don't. I know I've heard it, but I don't remember exactly why. Chris said Trump takes over Canada next week.
Yeah. I
Because
don't
everything
know.
is public information down there.
Ah, yes, the Sunshine Act.
The Sunshine Act. That was Darth Dragonis weighing in. That is interesting. the Sunshine Act. I don't know how to play says so. In Florida, we have, pardon me, we have this law called the Sunshine Act, which means that the police blotter is publicly available. If Virginia had that, there would be a bad man for sure, a VA man for sure. Yes, there would, Dragonis. I mean, the rest of the world has already seen the Louisa Melon heads.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're coming close because we do have the newspaper that has been put out for the last 15 years where they post everybody's mugshots and what they're arrested for.
I've really always wanted a copy of one of those with my mugshots, but I've never managed to catch it.
Yeah.
Oh crap! A high school needs to do that as an alternate yearbook.
Oh, that would be hilarious. I don't know how to place it. So when the news has a slow day, they go over the police station, pick through the interesting stories of people doing weird stuff, and that's what runs on the news. Yes. Other states have people that do weird stuff too. We just don't hear about them as often. Chris in the 386 says, also in Florida, we have a cat called Phuck around, and find out. You know what? I'll go ahead and drop an F-bomb for this one.
Yes.
We have an act, not cat, called Fuck Around and Find Out. See?
Mm-hmm.
I have F-bombs to drop.
I'm so buying more of those for gifts this year.
Yeah.
Actually, no. What I think I'm gonna do is do the little plants so that you can sit there and grow one.
That would be funny. Darth Dragona says, just say Fafo. I don't know how to place it. That's a Gen X term.
Oh, yes.
We are not exactly a young group of people here.
You can attest to that.
Well.
Yeah. So much for that 20 minutes.
So much for that 20 minutes. Let's try to make it at least to the end of this.
No.
All the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president as in case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, this...
I'm sorry, I can't let that go past.
Yes.
How many years have you been 22, Brock? How many years practice do you have at being 22? Eyes are glazing over on this one, as they should. Oh, only about 100. Lockpick, professional 22-year-old. Yes, you are. All right. Few more words and then done.
The Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. Okay. Note that this amendment was passed after the dramatic 1800 election in which Jefferson and Burr were tied for the presidency, with Jefferson eventually winning. You can learn more about all of this at, again, the National Constitution Center. Not sponsored. It's a great resource. However, part of the language of this amendment was later changed by the 20th Amendment, which we'll get to. Okay, 13th.
Okay. Well, we did not make it all the way through. Like I said we were going to. But
No, but I
somehow
think we had a good discussion.
I do too. Um
At least we made it past the Bill of Rights.
This is true. We didn't make it that far.
yeah. Hey, I say we are a chaotic stream. I have chaos as one of the hashtags, so I mean,
Yep.
we're good.
You think I'm here?
Chaotic Techno Wizard. Well, uh and this. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here, Kat and Peanut Gallery. Thank you guys for thanks for hanging out and everything. It's always great to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you everybody who showed up in chat. Thank you Lockpick, Cat, Darth Dragonis. I don't know how to play. DJ Chris Young, Chris in the 386. Emma, Just Me Crystal. Oh my God. Master Rasta 420. Let's get a shout out for Master Rasta 420 there. I was working on getting that done earlier, but I just shouted out Chris in the 386. So, let's see. Who else was in here today? Okay. I guess that was that's as far back as I can scroll in chat. So, well, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you much. Stick around for the raid. I'm pretty sure that we're gonna raid out to Just Me Crystal if she is still going when we raid out. And now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We are out, y'all.